of Wologisi to the beaches of Maryland, we cover Liberia like nobody else does. This is Spoon 107.5 FM.
Okay, folks, 4 minutes after 3 p.m. It's Wednesday. Today is the 19th day of February 2025. I nearly did say 2024. Seems like I'm still in the old year, but I got that on point. My name is Diamond Slanger. It's a beautiful afternoon here in Liberia. It's midweek. It's the Wednesday, and you're welcome to Wednesday's edition of Liberia's afternoon talk show here on the Spoon Network, The Pulse. My name is Diamond Slanger. We have a lot lined up for you today. The program is so crunchy packed that we now have to start picking up left some left vegetables. Yeah, when we go to cereal places and vegetable in the food, the way we can be picking them one, picking them, putting them on the side, picking them on the side. Yes, that's how the program is so jam packed that we are now picking things to talk about due to the time. All right, we do not come on Tuesday and Thursday because of scheduling conflict, but we're working on making sure that the show is from Monday to Thursday. All right, so the YouTube channel is on Testimony Ebony Doga. Please check that. Thank you for the heads up. But we do have the YouTube channel on, but our technical guys are going to look into that complaint of yours. All right, so folks, you're welcome. Wherever it is you're listening to us from here across Liberia, I'd love to say a pleasant welcome to you. For all those of you watching us on our various online platforms, a pleasant day to you as well. A lot of things happening in the country. Yes, a lot of things happening in Liberia. I always say if you are looking to shoot a reality series, and you do not have a plot and you do not have anything to do, what you need to do is just come to Liberia with your camera crew and you have a reality series that is full of drama. So what are the things we have to discuss with you today on the pause? We'll be discussing chronology. Yes, I know you studied biology, geography, zoology, psychology, all the J's. But today we'll be discussing and studying chronology. The 6-minute long plus tape of now regimed backed speaker Richard Nangbe Kun will not be discussing it in its entirety, but we'll be dissecting it portion by portion. And the portion I'm going to talk about today on the show is the big boys versus the small boys. When you listen to that audio, reported audio of the speaker, he talked at the latter stages of who are those that Fonati Kofa made annoyed. Big boys, you remember again, back in the days we had Big Boy 1, Big Boy 2, the whole Vanning Sherman, Civil mining stuff. So indeed, this big boy thing or the big boys thing is actually enshrined in our governance sector. He said, Kofa annoyed the big boys. And he went on to list few of the big boys, and he was empowering the small boys. So chronology is what we'll be discussing on the show as well, with reference to empowering small boys and making annoyed and angry the big boys. And when you make the big boys angry and they go against you, you lose that battle. So in all of the hula baloo and all of the noise and everything, who actually was representing we the small kekelene of Liberia, the Liberian people? Or it's all about interest and who's stepping on who and who's stepping on what and who's ostracizing who and who's maligning or sidelining whom. It's all about the big boys versus the small boys. We'll talk about that a bit. That is chronology with reference to big boys and small boys. That is what we'll be talking about that on the show as well. We'll also be talking about the capital answer investigation, where today a number of lawmakers were present. We've been informed that Abu Kamara is going through his stage of questioning. They were invited by the Liberian National Police to appear as persons of interest involving the investigation surrounding the capital arson there. So yes, Dixon Sibo was at the headquarters of the Liberian National Police, as well as Abu Bana Kamara. We'll connect with Nelson Colette, who's on the scene there at the headquarters of the Liberian National Police, popularly known here as Central. We'll talk to Nelson Colette as well. We'll also be giving our analysis on 2 wrongs, don't make a right, and abuse of power involving Yeke Koluba. The whole Yeke Koluba vehicle, vandalizing yesterday, breaking into the vehicle. What does the law say? When does the police have the right to break into a vehicle? What's the procedure of taking away a vehicle that is deemed to be at a spot that it shouldn't be in, and who abused power, and why is it important for our police officers or law enforcement officers who are assigned to VIPs to not act on instructions that are unlawful? And we see this a lot in our country. When an officer of the law is assigned to a VIP, many a times they tend to act out of the scope of their authority, because either they are overzealous and they want to please their bosses, or they become power drunk and forget the basis of their training. What's within the scope will provide you some perspective and analysis as to when, why, and how can a vehicle that is deemed to be either inappropriately parked, trespassing, or is a hazard to society, or is a threat, can be removed from a spot. We'll talk about that as well, and why we as a country we need to follow these laws to not make us look like a country of no laws at all. All right. So the GSA has issued a statement. But before we get into all that, remember to keep playing the radio game. It's simple. Today is 10,000, 20,000, and 50,000. You can win for yourselves. All you need to do is to dial *799 *80 hash, *799 *80 hash. The dashboard is opened. I'll pick up from where Ernest Bina left off, and I'll be calling one lucky winner right now to kickstart everything with 10,000 Liberian dollars. That person is just going to win 10,000 Liberian dollars off the cuff. Look, my people, I'm only here today and I'll be back on Monday. I want to leave this studio feeling so fulfilled that at least I can give out through the Radio Entertainment Liberia at least 100,000 Liberian dollars in terms of winnings. 10,000, 10,000, 20,000, 20,000, 50,000. However, it should at least reach 100,000 in terms of transactions. All you need to do is to dial *799 *80 hash. The code again, *799 *80 hash. Play with 200 Liberian dollars to win 20,000, 10,000, and 50,000, or $1.50 if you're using your USD wallet. So let me look at the dashboard now and draw a winner from the continuation of the transactions from Ernest. And let's call this person here to kickstart the show. We'll also be playing host to the campaigners against misinformation and disinformation, as well as the vice president for administration of the National Oil Company. He rescheduled from Monday to today, and we'll be playing host to him to discuss everything NOCAL. All right, so let's call this person now, and they've won 10,000 Liberian dollars. So once I get this person on the line, we'll kickstart the show after this call. All right, so I think we've got this person on the line. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Hello, afternoon to you, Chief. Your name?
My name is Sam Pearson.
All right, Mr. Pearson. Have you been playing the radio game?
Yeah.
How many times?
Oh, I play the radio game every day. I can play at least three times like that at least. Yeah.
You don't spending money, eh?
Yeah, I've been spending money.
Check your account. Check your account. We'll call you back again, but check your account. I'd love to say congratulations to you. You've just won 10,000 Liberian dollars. You can use a portion of that money to reinvest, and you might probably win 20 or 50,000.
Wait.
My man, I ain't got plenty of time. Check your account. You're 10,000. 10,000.
Wow. Oh my God.
Bye-bye.
Oh my God. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. That is the kind of excitement that we love to hear. That is the kind of excitement that we love to hear. Pearson is a happy person. He has won 10,000 Liberian dollars. And everybody is a winner on the show, irrespective of whether you're a male or a female. But in Liberia, people do play a lot. The people who do play a lot are males, but we do have females winning on the show, and that's evidenced by calls we've been making here as well. All right, so let's go straight into our talking points. So GSA has said, look, since yesterday the Supreme Court ruled or opined that the asset recovery team was rightly constituted by the president through his executive order. They had all of the constitutional requirements, and the gracious right wasn't in authority to challenge as a third party. So in effect, it took 9 months for the Supreme Court to come up with that decision. And that has left a lot of questions as to why it took so long for the Supreme Court to have come up with that decision, something that the Supreme Court came up with yesterday. So in line of that, the asset recovery team issued a strongly worded statement that they will start going after government assets and all of those things. So GSA, prior to coming on the show, issued a circular. And it says administrative regulation number GSA/AR/2025/002, subject cross-border movement of Government of Liberia vehicles. Effective date today, February 19, 2025. Purpose. This regulation establishes strict guidelines for the movement of Government of Liberia vehicles across national borders to ensure accountability, transparency, and proper asset control. Authorization requirements. 1. No GOL vehicle shall be permitted to travel beyond the national borders without prior written authorization from the Director General of the General Services Agency, the GSA. Authorization shall only be granted for official government functions deemed necessary and appropriate. Legal and policy compliance. This regulation aligns with the Code of Conduct for Public Officials, the Public Procurement and Concessions Commission's PPCC Act, the Executive Law, and the GSA Act. All relevant government functionaries, including security entities, are mandated to enforce this regulation in coordination with GSA to ensure strict compliance, enforcement, and accountability. Any unauthorized cross-border movement of GOL vehicles shall be considered a violation of government asset management policies and subject to administrative action. Security agencies and other relevant authorities are hereby directed to monitor and report any breaches of this regulation to the appropriate offices for enforcement. Issued by Kalapai W. Katima, Director General GSA. It's a good thing, but it's a flawed thing. It's good that we want to take steps, but it's a flawed step when you do not take the appropriate step that is going to ensure that your message or your mandate or your directive is followed to the letter. As a country, we are not starting at fresh. There are already existing ideas and systems already in place that can better help us than this manual thing. Our borders are porous. That's no lie. Of over the 200 plus crossing points that we have, how many of those points are manned by the Liberia Immigration Service? The world has evolved and the world has advanced. And the money we take to always purchase vehicles over and over, if we were to take a smaller slice and invest in technology, we wouldn't be singing the song of before you go apply, get a one, GSA director should sign. If GSA director doesn't sign, you can't get a vehicle. It's a good thing. The intent is good. But the implementation is flawed, and it will be flawed. Why is it GSA is now saying this? It's established that people do cross-border sale of government assets, but people also sell government assets right in Liberia. So what are we doing as a government to curtail this? The solutions are there. One of the easiest solutions is right before us. GPS tracking and automated shutdown systems. If we can purchase a vehicle for 45,000, 50,000, 75,000, and we do it after every 3 years, how much is it going to take us when we lose millions and millions of dollars to people illegally smuggling and stealing government assets, especially vehicles, cross-border? Why is it we cannot invest in fleet management systems? You go to the various ministries and agencies now, and you ask them for a ledger of how many vehicles they have. Many of them will be found wanting because we're just buying vehicles, just buying. When they want to get missing, they want in a garage, no proper accountability, no transparency. Vehicles are getting missing, just like to say, what about automated systems? I will encourage the GSA that while this is good, they can look into advanced systems that are practical. When the vehicle is not supposed to cross a certain region and it gets around that region, it will shut down automatically. There are systems like that. If the vehicle is not supposed to be in a particular radius and the GPS tracker is there, that vehicle will shut down. There are private companies that can run this system for you. And the money you will spend in investing in this technology is going to be a drop in the bucket from what we spend every time purchasing new vehicles and assets that we lose. So to the GSA, this is my take. Asset management and fleet systems are there. They are right in Liberia. I know of a company that gives keke for work and pay. Their kekes have GPS trackers on them. That you just want to take a keke from within Monserrato and you try to take it from within Monserrato, it will shut down. The engine will turn off. For many of you in advanced countries, where you go and rent cars and all of those things, these things are there. Even cars that you have for car note and all these things, many of these cars are tracked. And it will help us to make people to be more responsible and to take care of government assets. But this manual directive, whereas it's good, it's a step in the right direction, it needs to be stepped up to a more tech savvy and practical approach that is going to save us money rather than, oh, don't get a car, when you get a car, you must sign, you do that one. How many will adhere? It's still porous. So that's my analysis on that, and that's my call to the GSA, that they should look into asset management, fleet management systems. There are companies that can do that, and they will protect our assets better. We'll talk about this more tomorrow as to how to also manage vehicles off working hours. The other thing I can spot many of our assets, now it appears people using public vehicle or government asset for their personal and private use. The men want to be off work and transition to a private car, you'll see government car to pop in the net parking. What are the official duty? They're going to do statistics for how many Liberians can go to clubs at night. Well, only them can tell. But the wear and tear is mainly because of unofficial functions and people not taking proper care of assets. So that is that. So yesterday it was reported that there was a fire incident at the Roberts International Airport. We made calls around and it was confirmed that there was an incident according to what we were informed of, and we are also still seeking clarity. We're told that the LAA is going to issue an official statement. Was that the fire was somewhere on the runway 4, but it was quenched immediately, but it caused an Air Cote d'Ivoire flight to have been turned away. But the good news is last night Brussels Airlines landed at the airport, and I've got pictures of Ethiopian Air also arriving at the Roberts International Airport today, this afternoon. So we've been informed that all activities have resumed and are back to normal at the Roberts International Airport. It wasn't something that was a major incident, but as an airport as it is that should maintain all of the highest safety standards, it was only fair with all of what we have happening in the aviation sector all across the world. It was only fair to implement protocols that wouldn't have led to any further disaster or damage. So the airport is back up and running. That fire incident was put under control. And yes, you can book your flights and land safely here in Liberia. Let's see if we can connect with Nelson Kule quickly. We have our first guest already in the studio, Mr. Tower Johnson, from the campaigners against misinformation and disinformation in Liberia, which is a serious problem. We're going to talk about that as well. While it's important to have a rigorous campaign against misinformation and disinformation here in the country, he's going to explain to us what is misinformation, what is disinformation, how can you determine and go after factual information, how can you analyze information, and all of that. So we're not getting Nelson Kule on the line to give us the latest from the Monrovia, that's the Liberia National Police headquarters. But we want to move on to our next talking point, which is what happened, to Representative Koluba on yesterday. And I've titled this two wrongs, and the abuse of power. So I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritty of what unfolded, but I'm going to, from a legal perspective, because I consulted lawyers on this, and that's one of the reasons I'm always happy to be here, is to provide you with information from experts. So what does the law say when it comes to removal of vehicles or unauthorized objects which are deemed to either be trespassing, occupying on a space that it shouldn't be, and how do you get such out in reference to a vehicle? So, Article 21 of our Constitution protects your rights to property, and that no individual property shall be taken, damaged, except through due process. That is why if your property is damaged by another person and not through due process, you go to the law. If a vehicle is parked in a space that it shouldn't be, you get a warrant, or if the vehicle is deemed to be a security threat, it can be towed away, or if it's extremely deemed to be a threat where this vehicle is said to either have explosives, this vehicle has been rigged, it will explode or something of that sort, then that is an extreme situation that you can break into that vehicle to get it away. Our law is clear that if imminent danger is not determined, you have to tow the vehicle away. You call the tow truck. You do not break into the vehicle. You do not open the door. You stay right outside after you have asked this person to take away their vehicle and they are not. After you have exhausted everything, you call the tow truck. The tow truck will come, hook the wire or the line on that vehicle, and tow it away. That is the lawful way to do that, according to the law. The Penal Code of Liberia 12.50 talks about abuse of office. It prohibits public officials from using their positions for arbitrary or unlawful acts. Even the Code of Conduct of Liberia 2014 mandates officials to act lawfully and to avoid misusing their authority. The Property Crimes of Liberia, Title 26, is also clear that breaking into a vehicle, you are infringing upon a person's rights, and that is criminal mischief, 15.21 of our Penal Code of Liberia. It involves unlawful damage to property, as well as 14.51, which is about trespassing. It also talks about unauthorized interference with personal property. So while we want to maintain a country of laws, we have procedures and laws on our book. Even for a police officer to stop a driver and enter the car is wrong. The police officer is to stop that driver, ask the driver to disembark his vehicle, and if the driver refuses and that car is either in a position that it needs to be removed, the officer is not even allowed, minus a warrant, to enter that car and start searching for things. The only time is imminent danger or hot pursuit. If an officer or officers are chasing after a vehicle that is in the act of committing a crime, the officer is not going to run to the police, to the court, and go for a search warrant to say, oh, we'll come and search that vehicle. No, that is hot pursuit. They can stop that vehicle and forcibly remove the occupant. That is, they can enter the vehicle and remove the occupant because that vehicle is in hot pursuit, is in the commission of a crime. The officer or officers are not going to go to the court and say, oh, we need warrant, because the person doing this, at what time that person will have destroyed evidence. And as I said earlier, imminent danger. Who assessed that vehicle yesterday to know that it possessed a threat that was imminent, that it needed to be bursted into? After the vehicle was stowed away, did they search and see anything that was of imminent danger? That the vehicle possessed a bomb, or it was rigged, or it had a timer on it, or something of that sort? If it's not established, then all of what the law forbids was done yesterday, and meaning a crime was committed. The two officers that were involved in the act have been caught by the Liberian National Police. They're going through professional standards investigation. And if they are found culpable using the LMP's manual, they are going to be punished. It's a warning to every officer who's assigned to a VIP or somebody who's of higher stature that even it doesn't give you the right to act out of the way. When we start to respect our laws and we start to practice our laws, we create trust in the system, and Liberians will trust the system. But when figures of authority are seen doing things out of the way because they can flex muscles, it sends a wrong message to the common man. That is why when a government vehicle takes the opposite lane, they have a chain of vehicles, that will chase them. Because the person believes that if the government man can do it, myself too, I can do it. All right, folks, let's bring on now Mr. Tower Johnson. He's the executive director of the campaigners against misinformation and disinformation here in Liberia, which is a serious problem that we are faced with. All right, so let's bring on Mr. Johnson. I'd love to say good afternoon to you. Pleasant afternoon, and a pleasure having you here.
Good afternoon, Diamond. Good afternoon to all of the listeners. This is our first appearance here on Spoon FM and Spoon TV.
Yeah, it's a pleasure having you on.
Thank you.
I know you're here to talk about misinformation and disinformation, so I need to check myself. Any of the information I provided so far has been misinformation or disinformation, so that I can go and do further research?
Great. Thank you for the research, and thank you for informing our public. This is an opportunity to be with you on Spoon FM and Spoon TV, and we're here to talk misinformation and disinformation and enlighten the public on the danger of false information in Liberia and how they themselves can verify information.
Okay, so let's just jump straight into it, because I'm really intrigued having you on, because it's a learning curve for everybody. So what is misinformation and disinformation? I know one starts with M and the other with a D, but what's the difference or differences between the two?
So the two words, misinformation and disinformation. Misinformation is a false information, but the intent is not to cause harm. Disinformation is also a false information, but the intent is to cause harm. It's something that is intentional. You know that this information is a lie, but you still go ahead and tell the lie. So that is the difference. So one is unintentional, which is misinformation, and disinformation is something you know that this is not true, but you still go ahead and give it and tell someone because you have an objective. You want to achieve something.
Okay.
So let me just give an example. I always give this example so that it becomes clearer. Now, let's assume we are in a class, Diamond. I'm the president. And I tell you, okay, Diamond, go and inform the rest of the class that there will be no class on Tuesday. But then you heard it as Thursday. You go back and tell the class, the lecturer said we should not come here on Thursday. That was misinformation. You didn't mean to cause harm because you heard it as Thursday, right? Sometimes you say something to someone, but you don't get the right information. Tuesdays and Thursdays, have some
semblance.
Semblance. So that's misinformation. But where I told you, okay, Diamond, kind of go and tell the class that there will be no class here on Thursday. But then you take, for instance, maybe you are the president of the entire school, the entire alumni association or something, and then you have already organized a program on Thursday. And now I'm telling you there will be no class, and all of the leaders are part of that class. So if you tell them not to come on Thursday, it means that the program will not be a
flop.
success.
Yeah.
So you go back and think, you say, what do I do? I'm in a difficult spot. So you finally decided I will go and tell them that there will be class on Thursday. They should come. And if we don't see the instructor, then I'll get to them, you know what, we have a program already planned, so there's no need for us to go back home. So you go and tell the class to come on Thursday. In fact, you threaten them. You say, the lecturer told me to inform me that if you don't come on Thursday, we'll take the final attendance, and that will affect you if you are absent. And everybody comes on Thursday. They come and sit. 5 minutes pass, they can't see the lecturer. 10 minutes pass, you know what's going on. But then later on, you come at the front of the class, you say, look, class, it seems like the lecturer will not come.
So that's
our program already planned, we can't go back home. So everybody just moved to the program home. That's disinformation, because you knew that the information you were given was a false information, but you still went ahead and gave it because you had an objective. You wanted for them to come so that the program can be a success. So that's just the difference between the two words.
So in media law, slander and libel, but there must be malice. So in this, the disinformation comes with malice. That is, you intend to either inflict harm or you intend to hurt.
Yes.
So misinformation, from what I've gathered, and thank you for this, is just an honest error, unintentional. Example, we radio stations and news media outlets, sometimes we cross-check and double-check and triple-check, but sometimes you will have, some slight error, which shouldn't be happening though, but it happens. And that is because of that error, that entire information becomes misinformation. So when you correct it, it becomes the proper information. But if we were to give an announcement, or we were to run a program, or to make a statement of propaganda, or something that is either of general history generalization or whatever it is, and we intend to harm, misinform, mislead, that is disinformation.
Exactly. You knew that this thing is not true, but you still
election times, some people be giving false results.
And a clear example that one is a clear example where, because zero is a very significant number. So when you go to when you are at a polling place and you see a particular candidate has 100 votes, but then because maybe you are supporting that candidate, so you just put another zero on that 100. What has it turned to? 1,000.
1,000. Yeah.
So you see, so people tend to share false information because sometimes they benefit from an individual. Politicians have the tendency to spread false information.
That's what we're heading to.
Yeah.
Now that you've laid the premise of what mis and dis is in terms of information, how bad is the problem of misinformation and disinformation in Liberia, and what are the repercussive actions for such when people do that?
Now, the danger is unimaginable. Sometimes when people spread false information, sometimes they don't know the real life consequences of false information. False information undermines peace. It undermines democracy. It undermines the rule of law. It undermines governance. It undermines development. That's why we can joke with false information. Now, when false information is spread, it pollutes the information ecosystem in Liberia. So as an organization, campaigners against misinformation and disinformation, what we are doing, we are maintaining the integrity of the information landscape by conducting media and digital literacy training for different groups. We've impacted TVET professionals. We've impacted people with disabilities. We've impacted students, both university and high school students. We've also impacted TVET professionals, journalists. We've impacted them. During the elections, we conducted election misinfo and disinfo training for journalists. They were empowered with skills and strategies on how to counter false election information. Because you agree with me, Damon, that during the election, that's the time there's an upsurge of false information.
Of course, from campaign propagandas to misrepresentation of numbers and underreporting and tweaking and all these things. We see these things, and as you said, it has the propensity to derail the peace. Because if somebody says, "I heard I'm a candidate," had 1,000 votes, and now this other person is saying it's 100, there must have been foul play somewhere.
It undermines democracy. It undermines electoral processes. So that's why we can't joke with false information. We are very serious. As an organization, we are relentless. It means that we'll keep empowering citizens on how to verify information. Just recently, we were in Kakata Makibi County, and we impacted over 40 civil society organization members, including people with disabilities, on how to verify information. We taught them tools. You know, there are tools, online tools, Diamond. One of them is ScamDoc, and another one is Google reverse image search. I just wish we had the setup here where we can be able to show. But these are online applications that citizens can use to verify online information. Every day you have a link because you are a very influential person in the media space. Time when you receive information from all around. People are sending you information. Click the other link here, you get scholarship. Click the other link here, you just Baga and your wife giving data.
MTN and Orange empowering people.
How can you now, someone who has received that link, how can you authenticate if this link is legitimate? That's what we taught them. So these are online tools. We taught those civil society organization members how to use to verify those kinds of links.
But what if I don't have access to the internet to be able to verify? How do I do it in a manual way?
Great. So there are 3 steps that we always tell people on how to verify information. So the first thing is when you come across an information, you need to stop. You need to pause.
So there is a complaint against us. So the camera is for you.
Okay.
Yes. So I will see you here because we're having this conversation.
All right.
It's so interesting. I'm looking at you. So the people want to see our faces. Yeah. So just go ahead from where you left off.
So when you come across an information, you need to pause. That's the first thing. 3 steps. You pause. Don't be in haste to share any information with people. When you come across any information online, do not be in haste to share it. So you pause first. Why are you pausing? You pause to understand that information. That's the first thing you have to do. Then the next thing you have to do is you have to think. It means you got to reflect now. Okay, if I share the information, how does it affect me? How does it affect my family? By extension, the country Liberia. Because they got some information in there. When you share it, you can make people to panic. Hey, everybody can be somebody way in Lofa County will say, oh, it's not easy in Monrovia. So you got to be very careful. So you pause, then you think on that information that you're about to share. Then the next thing is you verify. Verify means you ensure that this information is correct or not correct. How do you verify? You verify from reliable and credible news outlets. You also verify from expert reports. When we say expert reports, an example is WHO, WFP, World Bank, there are many. And you can also verify from fact-checking organizations. These organizations produce reports. You can verify from the reports they produce, and you yourself too, you can do your little small background check on the information. The telephone call set is another form of verification. If they say something happened in Central Monrovia, don't just believe it quick. If you have people who live in Central Monrovia, you can pick up the telephone.
Hello, as many as you can.
Hello, is it true that this is going on in Central Monrovia? Can you confirm that that way you can do that? What is the telephone correct for? When fire happening somewhere, how you think we can know? And the journalists can alert us. Most people can be at the scene, but then if it's happening, someone will be there who has a Facebook account, will be going live, and then other people will start sharing it. You know how we can know it, so that another means to verify. When somebody say the other thing happening in internet is a public space, there's a likelihood that somebody there will have a social media account and a smartphone. They will be going live, and a lot of people will be sharing it. How you can also verify the information. But don't just take anything somebody say. Regardless the person is your mother, your father, your friend, your relative, don't just listen to anything they tell you. Make sure you verify the information. Damo, you remember smart AI? Eh?
Yeah.
Many people were misled.
Oh yeah, I remember that time. People cried. There was an easy thing at the Monrovia, at the Liberia National Police headquarters.
People protested. They didn't get their money back. People, you know who people trusted? They trusted their pastors. They trusted their imams. They trusted their friends, their relatives, their family members. All the people who put their money in smart AI, nobody made any effort to go and find where smart AI office is. Nobody made that effort, because if at all that happened, by now people are not going to be misled at that. But people trust their friends, their family, so they say, okay, when you put 2K there, you get 4K. You see that kind of thing? People say, but no need for me to go look for work again. The only thing I need to do, let me get from my 2K. When I get my 2K, I get 4K. So people started putting in their money. They didn't know that they smart AI I was scam. And so you know how we got to know that? We got to know when we started hearing testimonies.
We started crying.
Yeah, we started hearing testimonies of victims. And how we took the link now. We ran the link through ScamDoc. And you know why? It came back. It came out with 2%. They said in red. They said, how can you trust the link here? The link here is below average. Way below average. 2%.
How do you spell that ScamDoc so that those listening can be able to either jot that down and be able to use that too?
Exactly. So it's SCAMDOC. ScamDoc. When you put in, it's just one word. SCAMDOC. When you put in that one there, it will come with the first option. It's just one word. SCAMDOC. ScamDoc. That first one there. Click that first one. When you click that first one then it will come down. And you see, ScamDoc is an online platform that
you just paste the link.
Good. It's an online platform that is used to verify digital identities. You can use ScamDoc to verify email addresses. You can use ScamDoc to verify telephone numbers. And you can also use ScamDoc to verify links. All those links that they can be sending. You will get scholarship. You will get data. You can just copy that link and paste it. Thank you, Damo. Okay, so this is great. So this is the ScamDoc we're talking about. This one here is very powerful. All the links people can be sending you. Click the other one, you get this. Click the other one, we'll give you this. Just copy that link and paste it here. That way, if you get an example of a link said that
I can follow the link also.
Just copy it. So you copy it and you click analyze. When you click analyze, then it will come. It will read small. When it reads small, then it will bring the information to you, the analysis report. Okay. It will bring it to you. When it bring it to you, then it will tell you.
I got one link. I got one link here that talks about recruitment is ongoing.
Copy that one.
Let me put it in the ScamDoc.
Let's see.
And see. Okay. And
good.
Analyze.
Analyze.
Analysis in progress.
Great. That kind of small.
So it's 99% true.
You see it?
So this link is true.
Yeah. So you can trust that link. They get other link then when you put it there, hey, you see it in red. That one I can be saying you get data, you get scholarship, you gotta be careful. You gotta look, you gotta make sure you analyze the link very carefully before you can go ahead with that link. If you not do that one there, you will put yourself in problem.
You said another thing, another tool you mentioned.
Google reverse image search. Okay. It's Google reverse image search. But I won't just go to Google. When you go to Google and you see that camera icon, that camera icon there, when you click it, then
it says drag image.
You have to download the image. You know what that one is used for?
No.
They got people now who can take an event that took place in Ethiopia, for example.
Okay.
They will change it with different captions.
Yeah, we saw that a lot during the campaign time. People were taking images from Uganda and other places and trying to score political points with those images.
How you can catch them? You can catch them using that one, Google reverse image search. So you go, you click the camera icon there. Just try something. Just download one image from maybe Nigeria. Okay. And we just say maybe gas tanker in Nigeria. And when you download that one there, then you can upload it and then I will explain the processes. Then you click that camera icon. When you click that camera icon, then you upload the image. When you upload the image, then it will tell you exactly where that image there, where they took that image there. Okay. So the person can mislead you to say, oh, they're like doing. Because what some people can do election time, we saw that thing. They were all around. People still doing it. People can tell some, like during the protest, you remember the protest that took place in December at the Capitol building? Yeah. It was not easy there. People took some photos from Sierra Leone. They say, at the Capitol, because blood stains were on people's shirt, they took the kind of picture and they said that like bro.
Okay, so I'm going to upload one image. And
good, let's calm down.
So let me share the screen again.
Please.
So that our people can see. This is important. That is why we call on professionals as well to always make themselves available for such a program. So I have to scroll and come down.
Great. So you see where that image there from?
All right. So is it this?
Google search for it and Google telling you now where that image there took place.
Okay.
Which country it took place in? The place
I'm saying Nigeria.
Okay. Was it Nigeria that you
Yes,
Okay,
it was
great.
Nigeria that I took this
So
picture.
someone might have downloaded that image and put the caption say the librarian. So how can you yourself verify if that true whether that thing that librarian and how you can do it? So the process is you download the image. From there, you go to Google, the camera icon there, you click it. When you click it, then you upload that particular image that you downloaded now. When you upload it, then you make sure to verify now. You click, you say search.
Yeah.
When you search, then it'll be telling you where that picture, where they took that picture. You give the correct information. If they're in Nigeria, it will tell you. If they're in any other country, it will tell you. Hey, but like bro will not appear there. Hey, so that people can mislead people. They think alone can make people panic. People can panic. People can say, "Oh, hey, not easy again, not easy again." So when you get information, now what we say when you get information, don't be in haste to share the information. No, understand the information. For when you see on social media, you read the information twice. When someone brings the information to you, tell them, say, explain the thing again so I can understand. But don't just rush to share it. Oh, the thing other people got to share it. And let me just tell you something again, Daniel, Diamond. Our emotions, Diamond, can make us to spread false information. People, the information that can make people feel sad, can make people feel anxious, can make people feel angry. It can make them to share false information. Our emotions. So our people, don't allow your emotions to overwhelm you to share false information. No. When you come across an information, like take for instance that the smart AI there, what kind of emotion that all that information carry?
It carry the
happy emotion,
happy and greed, the feeling of wanting to make money. I don't want to necessarily say greed, but earning. People wanted to earn. People wanted to at least, to make maximum profit and all those things. And some of them honestly did that out of their kindness of their hearts to say, okay, let me share this that I've got with my friend. But as you said, when you get information, you pause.
Exactly.
And how related is your campaign to critical thinking?
Wonderful. So the steps that I've just explained also forms part of critical thinking, because if you pause and ought to understand the information and then you reflect and then you verify, it means that you are very critical when it comes to information. It also means that you are media literate, because not everybody with smartphone are critical thinkers. Not everybody with smartphone are media literate. Not everybody is media literate. Not everybody, can be critical when it comes to information. So that when we are on this radio here, we on the radio here to inform the people, to enlighten the people on the need to verify information. Don't be in here, my people. Because if we just be sharing false information, it can threaten the peace. The way we say it now here, we're not saying it here again. One thing we say on the radio now, you can imagine. You know how many people can listen to Spoon?
Yeah. So my next question to you, Mr. Johnson,
yes,
is as an organization, you doing your bit. As you said, you've been impacting, and part of the impacting is happening now. People listening all across the country, all around the world, and are learning new tips and all of that. We're in a digital age where softwares are available. People can create things in the twinkle of an eye and start to spread with social media and the traditional media. You're doing your part as an organization, as I said earlier. What has been your suggestion or suggestions to the government as well that is responsible for our space, in terms of protecting us from such mis and disinformation?
Great. So, most often when we have always been saying as an organization that the need for us to create more awareness and more training cannot be overemphasized. Our recommendation to the government is, please, when you have the government, all government ministers and officials, you remember there was a false information that was circulating on social media regarding the government won 500 million.
Yeah.
False information. It was little, in fact, the right information came that the government is now qualified, right?
Yes.
To apply for another. But here is the thing, Diamond. So the government, our recommendation to the government, the first recommendation is government should not be in haste to share information.
Government too should not be in haste. Government agents, and the rest of scoring political points and all these things, because it makes the government to look somehow. Yes, somehow. You just took the word. It makes the government to look somehow. I don't want to say unserious, but when you come back and come with a rebuttal and try to fix things, the damage is already done.
Yes.
Yeah, but you
And
can
you
continue.
see, the false information can spread faster.
Mhm.
Then when you bring the right information out, it can reach to all the people there who got the false information.
Mhm.
So that we gotta be careful with the information we provide. So the government, all ministers, all officials of government, please make sure before you put out any information, make sure you verify the information. Make sure you cross-check the information before you put it out. Because if you do that now, people don't have confidence in you. So let's take for instance, what if the government does not get 500 million? The government gets less than 500 million. What happens then?
Well, people start to think that okay, they got 500 million, but they pass the mile, they pass somewhere, and and they're bringing this one home, and all of those things. There will be so many reasons they want to doubt the entire thing.
You see, people can lose confidence in the government. So we don't want that kind of thing. Government, please, that's my first recommendation to you there. That all the information there, before you put it out, before you send it out, please make sure the information is the correct information. Yeah, I hope that the major recommendation there. And another one is for you to embrace media and digital literacy in all of your ministries and agencies and in government. Embrace it. Because what media literacy can do, media literacy equips people who work in government with critical skills on consuming information. They can just see any information and they believe it. They will be equipped with the relevant skills to verify information. What digital literacy can do, it empowers people who work in government too. That when you come across an information online, you can use these apps we've just showed you on how you can make sure that these apps are legitimate before you proceed. So it's very important. So these two recommendations, government, please take them into consideration.
What about it? We learn these things in journalism school. The ABC. You don't need to rush with the news if you don't have everything in full before you give mis and disinformation. But we see that with the offshooting of this social media and this new media, as it's now branded, where anybody with a smartphone can go live and say whatever and people consume it. And there's a lot of mis and disinformation, especially on the social media landscape. What can the media, do in protecting the kind of information they disseminate as well?
Yeah, so the media, those in the media, they play a very crucial role, Diamond. People believe you, people listen to you, whatever you say, people run with it. So I told you before that we train journalists during the elections. Now, what the media people can do to follow the same thing, right? When you have an information, don't be in here to break the news.
Yeah. Because so now you get itchy. So now you can be itchy. Yeah. I've been in that situation before. And to be honest with you, right? Sometimes people intentionally misinform and disinform us.
Okay.
Yes. That is why it's important. I'm telling you this, and I'm telling the public this. As a journalist who receive a lot of information, sometimes people will intentionally give you the false info and false intel to play on your credibility, or to use your mouth, as we call it in Liberia, to chew their pepper. So when these things come your way, as you said, people believe that the media has got influence, and they can use you to put information out there. When you get this information, or what we call tip or scoops, it's only fair that you do your proper due diligence, that you investigate. You firstly want to know what's the person's motive, the documents they're sharing with you, if they are authentic. You reach out to sources, you try to confirm, you try to compare and contrast. It's not, you don't have to necessarily be in a rush to say the wrong thing and then later you come and say, oh, I'm issuing a rebuttal and all that kind of stuff. It takes away your credibility. Every time you come back as a media institution and you come and do a rebuttal, it chisels away at your credibility. People start to lose trust in you. So that is just a point I wanted to make, that even for our media people, we get tempted. People try to feed us false information. Sometimes most of the times it's intentional if it's false. Sometimes it's an honest mistake, but you always have to verify and make sure you not be used as a pawn in a bigger game. I just wanted to add that, but you can go ahead.
Thank you, Diamond. So that is very important, and it's great that this is coming from you because you are in the seat and you know what happens on a regular basis. So people use you because they don't have the opportunity to speak to millions. You have that opportunity, so they pass through you to reach the millions. So that's why you are in a very critical position to make sure the information you have, the sources are credible, the sources are reliable. this is an information that you yourself can verify. Somebody can come to you and tell you, say, oh, this happened there. You know that this person, what authority does he have? Is he, you got to be questioning yourself too. How can he get such an information? How close is he to this particular organization or entity? I gave you an example. When people die, some people who not even immediate relatives can rush to Facebook to post the death news. They don't even call immediate relatives to verify, oh, is this person dead? Can you come? No. What if that person has not died? Who killed that person when you finish posting? Now you were, and 2 days prior the person died. You see the kind of problem in that cause? People will say, you the one. You see, so that we gotta be careful. When you have an information, nobody giving you any price to share that information with people. If you just share anything now, it can go fast. You can't even imagine. People will start calling back and forth. But what's going on? Do you also remember that a few years back, there was a fellow who posted on social media of a lady abdomen open. He said that lady there, they killed her in Liberia. It was later investigated, and the police found out that lady said that picture on that is not even from Liberia. People started panicking. But you know what happened to him? He was incarcerated. And later on, they released him. But the point I'm making is false information can make people panic. False information can cause people to make wrong decisions. That's why, as an organization, campaigners against misinformation and disinformation, we will keep empowering citizens. We will keep enlightening them on the danger of false information, digital tools they can use to verify information in order to protect the integrity of the information landscape in Liberia.
All right, Mr. Johnson. Mr. Tower Johnson is the executive director of the Campaigners Against Misinformation and Disinformation in Liberia. We do not have the luxury of time, but what we can promise the Liberian people is we'll do a reschedule of his appearance, and we'll have enough time so that people can ask you questions and all of that. We are in a space where the digital space is faster in disseminating information than what we had back then, where it was the newspaper, it has to go through the editors, and the thing about it, what I'm morphed into, when it leads from one mouth to the other, something changes. Yeah, and I've done that experiment. If you tell somebody something here, and the person leaves to go and tell the next person, either they forget a fact, or they add it to sensationalize it, and they give it to the next person. The next person goes how they understand it. That's how they do it. But just quickly to wrap up, are there legal remedies as well? I know there's libel, there's slander, and the rest, but are there legal remedies in place for those who might be involved in disinformation? For misinformation, as you said, it's just slight change, but sometimes the misinformation can also be intentional. Are there legal remedies as such that people can use to work on such?
Yeah, so for now, we don't have a cyber law as a country, but even if we will work on a cyber law, we have to be careful that it does not stifle freedom of expression. Yes, so we don't have a cyber law. We don't have something in place to be able to go after those who, intentionally disseminate false information. But my closing statement will be to Liberians. Please, my people, the way we started, how I started the whole thing here is when you come across any information, don't be fast to share it. Make sure that the information is correct information before you share it. And the government people too. Thank God we get one government man in the studio.
He can provide information.
Yeah, so thank God we get one government man in the studio. So please, don't let you in a space that people believe in you. You are governing millions of people. When you say something, people can hold on to it. You earn it to the people 500 million. When you get something below 500 million, just be prepared. You got to answer some questions. So make sure the information you provide to us is accurate, is reliable, is credible, something that we can, because information is the currency of democracy.
It is.
So when it's manipulated, it can cause problems, and we don't want that as a country. We've come too far. We've got to protect our peace. We've got to maintain the integrity of the information landscape. So campaigners against misinformation and disinformation, we are grateful to you, Diamond, and the management of Spoon FM and Spoon TV for this precious opportunity. And we are also grateful for the the live instructional video you did for those who are watching. Yes, this is important. And what we are going to do is also download this video and upload it on our YouTube page so that more people can have access.
Talking about access to information, people want to have access to you. Schools, administrators, and the rest, even media organizations want to have access to you. What are your contact informations that people can use to get to you?
Thank you.
So that they too can be empowered.
Great. So here is our contact number. You can reach out to us on 0555 433 134. 0555 433 134.
Okay.
Or 0776 230 440. 0776 230 440. Also on Facebook. When you go on Facebook, instead of you typing that long name, Campaigners Against Misinformation and Disinformation, you just put in our acronym, CAMDL, in the search box there.
Okay.
Then you just say search. When you search, you will see all of our initiatives. We are on various social media platforms. We also have our website, is www.camdl.org. And before I leave, Diamond, we are also urging our international partners to kindly support our work. At the moment, we have no logistical support. The by-election is coming up in Nimba. We want to do media and digital literacy training with civil society organization members. They are calling on us to go and do such a training, but we don't have any logistical support. So we need the support of our international partners to kindly facilitate our work.
You're missing a key base that you need to appeal to as well.
Okay.
Liberians here and abroad can also assist in that effort.
Please, but
because it's our own thing. And if you can reach out, people will want to help you in that process. Like for me, I've donated myself as one of your campaigners. So whenever you have something ongoing, you think you need my service, you can reach out to me, and we can all help in making sure our people become critical in analyzing information. And because this is also going to eat away the gullibility of our people. Once people can analyze, look for the facts, make better decisions, even it will be difficult for politicians now to start fooling us all around here, because they know that you are aware of what the information is and they have to conform to telling you the truth.
Thank you, Damo.
All right.
I'm very grateful. Thank you for the opportunity.
So just appeal to our people and read your number again so that we can take Mr. Boyka Jaliba. He's already here.
So our number,
you don't want to keep the oil and gas people with.
Exactly. So we have our offices on SKD Boulevard, Block B. That's where we are, and you can reach out to us on 0776 230 440, 0776 230 440, or 0555 433 134. 0776 230 440 or 0555 433 134. Thank you again.
Thank you, Mr. Tower Johnson. He is the executive director of the Campaigners Against Misinformation and Disinformation in Liberia. This is the pause. We have our second guest already in studio, the Vice President for Administration of the National Oil Company of Liberia, NOCAL, Honorable Boyka Jaliba, is our guest. After this short break, he will be seated for us to have a very, very interesting conversation, as we did have earlier with Mr. Tower Johnson. We'll be back right after this break. Remember to keep playing the radio game. The code is star 799 star 80 hash. It is verified information. Star 799 star 80 hash. You win either 10, 20, or 50,000 Liberian dollars by just playing with either 200 Liberian dollars or $1.50. We take this short break. We'll be right back, and once we get back, Mr. Boyka Jaliba is our guest on the program. We'll be back. Folks, time here in Liberia, 10 minutes after 4 p.m. This is the pause on the Spoon Network. We just played host to Mr. Tower Johnson. He is the executive director for the campaigners against misinfo and disinfo in Liberia. It was quite an interesting one. But we will be connecting with Nelson Kule quickly. Nelson is currently on the grounds of the headquarters of the Liberia National Police. All right. So interestingly, we cannot get Nelson. We wanted to bring you live updates from what's unfolding there at the headquarters of the LNP, as some representatives who were named by the Liberia National Police as persons of interest in relation to the burning of the capital, for which we now have a legal proceeding unfolding at the courts, the capital arson case. But once we're able to speak with Nelson, we'll bring you the latest update. But we can confirm to you that Representative Dixon Sibo of District 16, Monserrado County, was at the headquarters of the Liberia National Police, as well as Abu Bana Kamara of District number 15 was also present at the headquarters of the LNP. All right, so let's now get into our conversation with Mr. Boyka Jaliba. He is the Vice President for Administration at the National Oil Company, NOCAL. Pleasant afternoon to you, sir. It's a pleasure having you here with us.
Well, Damon, thanks for inviting me. You know, having done this for a long period of time.
It's good that I took you from your
I was in this dump in this private sector.
Okay.
At Ascometa, like there, after years of all these rabid discussions on Facebook, on things of the media, traditional media, social media. And so I went into what I refer to as some hibernation.
Okay.
And then, of course, after the elections, we won elections, and so I was asked to come back to the government. And so I came back in April of 2024. And so I'm here just to be able to back in the hot seat.
Okay.
Just to be able to have discussion around that. And I just want to correct that. I don't know it like carry the title of honorable.
Oh, you don't like it?
Yeah,
it can be removed. It can be removed.
My name is Mbwaka Jeleba.
Okay.
I'm from NOCAL local.
Okay.
I don't get myself involved with
The honorable handle.
Yeah, the honorableness.
Oh.
That
So it's Gina, right?
Gina. Mbwaka Jeleba Gina.
Okay.
But that's okay.
All right.
So
So
just remove.
we just talking about misinformation.
and the other one is NOCAL.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
So
So
M not N. M as in Michael.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So Michael. So let's start with that. Make sure we have all the handles properly done, and we can get into the conversation.
Thank you.
Somebody jokingly said there was an appointment made for an individual to take up a post in the president's government, and his name is actually, he's got a doctor handle. So the letter, they didn't carry the doctor handle, and the person refused the letter, and the person asked me if the person was right. I said, yeah, the person was right, but they ended up waiting 6 months plus to get a new letter. So though they wanted to be corrected, somebody said they should have just taken it and gone into, but for legal reasons, they needed all of those things. But let's get straight into it. You said from April you've been at NOCAL, the National Oil Company of Liberia. Can you bring us up to speed from April up to current? How has been the activities there at NOCAL as a VP for administration?
To put it in context, NOCAL is not at the plus years of the Robert Salif, Chris Neo administration, but it is not in bankruptcy after the McCain administration. And so NOCAL is on a steady path towards revamping in terms of Liberia's hydrocarbon sector. And so I'm happy to be able to play some kind of leadership role there, to be able to ensure that Liberia gets back as part of the member countries in terms of the conversation around hydrocarbon. And so just for context, because automatically I come here and talk about all the big things. And so just for context, when people think about NOCAL, they think about the plus years of NOCAL. Talk about when they had Rap Salif as the board chair, they had Chris Neo, they had all the guys there. and NOCAL was donating funds for scholarships, for travels, and the rest of that. I mean, so we are not at that NOCAL as yet, but we also not the NOCAL after 2017 that filed in for bankruptcy. We don't intend to file in for any bankruptcy now, and so we are on a steady course. And I want people to look at NOCAL within that person.
Okay. So we're here to discuss what is currently unfolding with NOCAL and the LSCC. I know the LSCC issued a statement that it has not, come up with any investigative findings and all of that. But on Monday, again, if I'm right with the date, we did see vice presidents and other senior management staff go into the LSCC, and we were informed that is to answer questions as to what to do know and provide evidence in relation to the ongoing investigation. I know it's an ongoing investigation, but I want to kickstart by saying, have you VPs been invited by LSCC in relation to the ongoing investigation of this vehicle and contract awards?
Oh yes, and please, let me just take a safari into NOCAL's own operations. I think Liberians are more interested in hearing some of the things that we do there. The hydrocarbon sector, especially with oil and gas, before people venture into that area, they normally do something they refer to as, like for the mining sector, they call it exploration. So you come and get an exploration license. For oil and gas, you will have to come and negotiate and buy something they call seismic data.
So you're speaking to the functions of
NOCAL. Yeah, I will come towards the what's in the media.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the functions as you're speaking, so
correct.
We can tell our people as you.
And so the issue around, so we have had a lot of interest of recent in terms of our basin. We have 33 blocks. Blocks 1 to 24 is a Liberia basin, of course. 24 to 35, 24 to 33 is the what we refer to as Harbour Basin. And so it has garnered a lot of interest, and the reason is common. There's a country in South America called Guyana. Guyana, correct. All of the super majors, the big oil companies, went into Guyana for years, Diamond, and they spent millions of dollars, and they left from them empty. Years later on, because of new data, 3D, 2D, seismic data, technology has improved. So they all went in back there. ExxonMobil went there, and Total Energies guys went there. They found oil, and now Guyana is that shining star. We come back home, see Ivory Coast. Total Energies spent a lot of money in Ivory Coast, millions of dollars in Ivory Coast. They went check, couldn't find anything. Like the guys here in Liberia, where you have Chevron, ExxonMobil, and all the guys were here. They went and checked, millions of dollars, years, and they left from there empty-handed. An Italian friend called E&I went in there, and 2-3 years later on, they found oil. And so, because of what has happened in Ivory Coast, and because of the geology between Ivory Coast and where the oil was found, like the similar geology, so it has garnered a lot of interest. So a lot of now, last year we licensed data for Petrobras. If you know what
Petrobras, I think it's a
giant in
South American company from Brazil or something.
Total Energies. We did some for Murphy. This year we have licensed data for Chevron.
Okay, Chevron again.
Chevron, yeah. So when you license data, the guys pay a lot of money. It's not free, And we have the custodian of our data, a group called TGS, signed on for a number of years. TGS has partnered with Liberia for many years now. And so they have done very, very well in terms of the looking at 2D data, 2D seismic data, and so there's a lot of interest in terms of our Harbour Basin, of course, in our Liberia Basin, and so we are happy to report to the country that we with that level of interest has been generated. As we speak, a high power government Liberia team is in Paris, France. Of course, that team was led by the Minister of Finance and Development Planning, the Minister of Justice, the chairperson of the Board of NOCAL, the head of the regulatory agency, LPRE, the Ministry of Mines. And so they should have been there from February 9th to the 22nd. But I know some of the guys have come back. And those are negotiations in terms of moving towards the signing of PSCs. Because at the end of the day, after all this happening, the data thing, people want to sign PSC.
So what's PSC?
Is the petroleum sharing contract.
Okay.
So you call it PSC. So every time we see it, for example, of if Chevron is coming here to come and start doing exploration, so that process before the company have signed PSC.
Okay.
And so again, this year you will hear a lot of noise around the oil sector.
Good noise.
Good noise.
Yeah, good noise.
And maybe some part of bad noise as well.
Mm.
Of course, we have a very animated legislature, so there will be that noise again around oil. So again, like I said in my introductory statement, we are not as the Rousseau years yet, but we're also not at the issue around bankruptcy. It's now a very good time to be associated with National Oil Company Liberia.
Okay.
You see that if you read by the Monroe City Corporation, that building that went up
Yeah.
That's a NOCAL building.
Oh, is it the one behind the MCC between Monroe Chicken and behind?
Correct.
Right behind there.
Correct.
Yes.
By July 26, 2025, we intend to. That building has to be turned over to the National Oil Company.
That's nice. It's quite a sizable building.
And so someone cannot be doing that $1 million project. Talk about bankruptcy. So I'm saying to you, we're not yet at the Rousseau NOCAL years where $50 million pouring in the end there, but we're not, at the point not around bankruptcy. So we are doing well. So it's a steady progress, and I have to put that year so that at least tomorrow people can be asking about what is happening there. I mean, a lot happened. We've got oil noise, nobody a little bit noisy. So as a result, we decided that we'll do the work first, and in terms of the output, and then we can have the citizens that make participation in terms of that kind of argument. And so I'm just happy to be to be able to serve along the lines. We headed by the CEO Rosalind Shako Dennis. There has been some presidential actions. Of course, we have the acting CEO, Phoebe Michael Lai. He's worked at NOCAL before.
Okay.
He's currently vice president for operations, sort of the chief operating officer. And so he's been asked to steer activities until we find the outcome of that investigation.
And you've reported good of NOCAL, and we as Liberians are interested in knowing the workings of agencies and institutions, and we want proactive information. But sometimes in the corporate and governance sector, people just don't rush out of information and need to properly vet the information and see how best they can give out the information. So sometimes we understand the delays we don't get, but many a times we just don't hear these things at all until you hear a negative before people try to counter. But you've reported a lot, Mr. Jaliba. And now the public is not hearing about NOCAL because of all these good things that you've talked about, but rather it's been about 75,000 in terms of vehicle purchasing or vehicles purchasing, awardings of contracts in the tune of 585,000 and another 300,000 that was paid to West Africa Geoservices and all that. And I've taken my time to read through the NOCAL Act, the Act of 2013, the revised NOCAL Act, and to see what are the roles of the president CEO, what are the roles of the board, how powerful is the board of NOCAL in the day-to-day running. And I found out that the board is very, very involved in the daily running of NOCAL. that the board must sign on financial transactions, approve these things, and the rest. The president reports to the board according to what I've read. I might not have read well, but I see that the president, is also not part of the board, but the board is powerful and is involved in the day-to-day activities. So my question to you is, this vehicle issue.
Which one? They have a couple of vehicles now.
Yeah, not yours. People said it's not 55,000.
Yeah.
But the 75,000 and the awardance of this contract to the West African, what's the group of the West Africa Geo Services? Mr. Jaliba, how did this go down? I know it's an ongoing investigation. You cannot speak in depth, but how was this contract awarded, and how are vehicles purchased by the national oil company, not just for president, but for vice presidents as well?
So on the issue of the contract, when we went to when the CEO came in, it was her vision about doing an onshore geological survey, because most of the things we do is around offshore.
Yeah. So can you enlighten our people the difference between onshore and offshore? Because some of us might know, but many of our people want to get the actual.
So when they talk about offshore, they're talking about in the waters, onshore, on the ground, or on land.
Yeah.
All right, on land. So they call it onshore. So that would be data we have. It's around the offshore. And so CEO said, can we look on land and see what's here? So it was her vision that drove that process. And so when we went to London sometime last year, in terms of the yearly roundtable with TGS, the custodian of our data, one of the issues that kept coming up was the issue of what do we do with the do we have a kind of onshore survey analysis done? And so she drove that aspect, and that was conceived in terms of the budget of NOCAL. We, of course, the NOCAL is run by a board.
Yeah.
They provide that kind of leadership. So the board did approve $500,000 for onshore geological, survey, and on the basis of that, because we have sent the procurement plan as part of the process. When the budget is passed, you have to send your spending plan and the procurement plan to the PBCC for validation. So they will number to validate. After validation, of course, then you come back home and you start to do the having procurement committee meetings. I'm a member of the procurement committee. Okay. We held 2 meetings along that, meeting of October 4th and October 17th. And the procurement committee advised that going forward, that we will, handle us of that stuff. We follow the PFM laws, the PBCC Act, and the rest of that. And of course, they used that procurement committee meeting, and of course, set up the evaluation panel. Evaluation panel reported a nice report following all the cross of T's in terms of to be able to select a company, and that company was selected. The West African Geo Services was selected, and we had another meeting. The procurement committee they met to review the evaluation stuff, and so we then endorsed the procurement committee endorsed the evaluation report based upon that, with the caveat that it goes to the PBCC. And for the PBCC, no objection. Of course, the PBCC, right after that evaluation report, my Mbwaka Jaliba as vice president of administration, my knowledge of that process ended.
Okay. So you were involved in the evaluation?
No, you're going in terms of validating evaluation report. Yeah, I'm about part of the committee, so we just look for checklists. Okay. Yeah, did you meet this who had the highest bid experience? Once you provided the information, we have to sign off on it. Okay. But again, there's a whole big part in terms of following the PPCC regulations. Okay. And so that evaluation report was signed on and sent to sent to the PPCC for no objection. But upon the validating of that evaluation report, my involvement stopped.
Okay.
I didn't, follow up automatically. Expected that letter would have gone to PPCC. PPCC gave the no objection. Of course, I saw somehow on the I'm the vice for administration. I did not see the PPCC no objection. I just saw it on Facebook.
Okay. So you're saying that if the PPCC has sent a no objection as per your TOR, you should have seen it?
Probably just for share.
Okay.
Okay. But I don't have an issue.
Okay. So it's not that you're entitled.
No, I'm not.
But
the presidency.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but I think somewhere down the line is that PPCC said, going forward, you should follow all the PPCC regulations, and that's what's been now investigated.
What are the PPCC regulations for followed?
Yes, all the PPCC regulations are followed. Yeah, as a caveat, I don't sign checks at NOCAL.
Okay.
So automatically, I don't receive alerts. Signatories to the account normally receive alerts, start checks. So automatically, if payments were made against that, I wouldn't be able to know because we don't have an automated system. It's more manual system. So automatically, you check the memo, and then you get the approval. If it doesn't pass through me, I wouldn't be able to know. It's not like some kind of electronic system where that you'll be able to see real time, where is it, right? So I said since the 17th of October, since the review of the evaluation report, my involvement with that process stopped, and that's being investigated by the Labor Anti-Corruption Commission. Given that it's being investigated, I will feel indulgence.
Yeah,
to get wait for the outcome of that of that process. Well, I think based upon that, the LCC did invite everyone.
When you say everyone, who's enshrined in the everyone?
Okay, so the senior management team, the president, CEO, and core vice presidents, the guy from procurement officer, the internal auditor, the controller, and so they talk to everyone. I think they are still, carrying out that investigation. I was there on Monday.
Okay.
I was there now for long because my involvement stopped. Stopped
as you just said.
Yeah, evaluation report. So automatically, I could not see a lot. I just explained my role because specifically they asking for your role, and so you explain your role. Regarding the issue of the
vehicles,
yeah. Again, NOCAL went to recess on December 15th, 2024, and so I traveled. Office closed. It's a normal thing for a corporate institution. Office closed and reopened on January 6th. In that period, I think I left the country on December 22nd. And so those acquisitions were done when I was out of the country. So, and again, I told PPCC that I have, no knowledge about the acquisition, whether it's a $75,000 vehicle, and of course it's whether 2 vehicles. But one thing I can confirm is that the board of directors of NOCAL did approve vehicles for the CEO president, $75,000.
75,000.
Yes,
was approved by the board.
The board, yeah.
And the budget stipulation and the spending cap is at 50,000, 45,000.
And then for the vice presidents, the board did approve the $5,000.
Mr. Jaliba, let's just go back because this is a serious thing,
right?
And did the board approve $75,000 United States dollars for a vehicle or for vehicles.
I have the budget.
Yeah.
Budget's on Facebook you see, for a vehicle.
For a vehicle.
And approved of $55,000 United States dollars for vehicles for the vice presidents. And that was approved by the board.
Okay.
I think the approval was done in May. Maybe so my colleagues
May of 2024.
2024. That
Okay.
was for, you know, we talk about it in April, so it took some time. The president, let me just go back a little bit.
Yeah.
The president of Liberia appointed us, and when the appointment was made, if you look at the NOCAL Act, as you read,
it should come from the board.
It should come from the CEO president.
Yeah,
so
the CEO
board
president should nominate
you to the board. Yeah, so we had a correct order.
Okay.
And so we were appointed in February, I think February 11 or 12 for me. Of course, I did not take office until April. So we were trying to correct all that. Because, you know, when those pronouncements are made, tomorrow people will say, well, how do you
get there? You were not there legally. So
we have to correct all of those anomalies. And then we then went there. But we made a decision. And I appreciate my colleagues, vice presidents. It was just, and that it was not just about even the budget law. For some reason, we just thought that to buy 4 $55,000 vehicles, it was just a little weird. All right, so we made that decision, and so in May, when the budget was passed by the signed off by the board, remember when the budget is passed on, that's when you do your spending plan and send it to the PPCC for the PPCC's endorsement. So the procurement plan got approved by the public, the PPCC. All right. But then, I'm a political person. I'm very aware of the politics. And so we made a decision. We're not buying Prado yet. You know, the Liberian definition of Prado, I think Prado is not a very expensive bike.
Prado is expensive.
But, you know, Liberians they normally, they'll give you a pass if you ride a Prado, because you know it's so common, right? But we made a decision that we're not buying $55,000 that one. And so my colleagues, it took some time. My colleagues listened.
It took some time to convince people.
No, my colleagues listened.
Okay.
As we were going through those debates, normally, I mean, you have people from different walks of life that who have, and so. Fortunately for my side of the argument, then we had the Amimo die.
Okay, okay.
So by his side, I said, but you're right. You know, the past $5,000 vehicle. So we had to settle for we did the bidding process, the procurement folks did the bidding. Of course, then we settled now for our Kia Celtos. And so we bought the Kia Celtos. And so we bought the Kia Celtos, and then that was in October of last year.
Let me cut into the narrative a bit, right? So the spending cap is at $45,000 United States dollars, right, for heads of entities and agencies in terms of procurement of vehicles,
right?
But the NOCAL board, and at that time it was under Edward Wade Appleton, right? Correct. He was the board chair. For the board to have approved $55,000 for vice presidents for one vehicle each, and then $75,000 for president CEO, way above the spending cap.
I'll put that, not speak for the board will speak for yourself. But I'll put that as probably the board was not privy to that information.
Mr. Jaliba, if that is the pass you want to give the board,
that one. Even, and I'm saying this to you, even when I made the plea to my colleagues that we came back to the $5,000 vehicle, that one I can, and this one is something I say to you, you know, of fairness. Myself, but they don't even know the
spending cap.
Spending cap. I have no knowledge of spending cap, so I'm not going to say to you that the board knew. I was very, very aware. It was just it's just about.
But is that going to pass? Now the investigation is ongoing. So, if the board comes on and say, okay, we are not privy to this information, is that a pass?
So I know you are looking for an ally, right? I'm saying to you, I just speak for the board.
Yeah, I know you don't. I know you don't.
But I think because of my ignorance on that matter, my assumption is that the board also was in the way.
So that decision was based on austerity. It was based on
basically
austerity that we cannot be spending $55,000 on a vehicle.
Basically, that was about.
All right, it wasn't about.
It was not even law. It was after when the army mobile saga happened. Then the issue of the law, you know, or the spending cap, it became much more prevalent.
So I know you don't speak for the board, but let's speak as individuals who are closer to the board, and decisions can be reversed. So the board now looking at the Army Modad saga couldn't have conveyed an emergency board meeting or whatever it is, and then pass a resolution to say, okay, this nullifies our first approval.
That's for the board.
Yeah, I know it's for the board.
When we find somebody on the board, but my side, and I'm trying to be honest with you.
Yeah, of course.
It was even on the basis of the budget ceiling. It was just because of just for the political side and the kind of public imaging, you know, that it was giving, you know, it was giving the entire thing. So, and then when the Army Modal stuff happened, then everybody like, okay, then we start talking about the budget law and the rest of that. But let me say this to you, Damo. This thing has been violated for more than 25 years, like there.
That's why you came to change it.
Yes, I'm saying to you, it has been violated more than 25 years, like there. And if I knew about the budget law, I would have quoted the budget law. But on this stuff, and I'll be honest with you.
So how much did you pay for your vehicle?
Our vehicle, one vehicle at $2,500. I brought it.
Okay.
So the car parked outside. From here, I'm gonna look at the car.
Yeah, we've gone to the Kia dealership. You know,
and what I told you is that
it's the same as you quoted.
I'm just saying to you that we're here talking about, you know, the pay $65,000 for the car. That's not true. Let me put it in our grandparents. It's not true. The car
there are accusations that you guys might have bought the car for $32,000 plus and change, but the difference of the $55,000 was gotten in cash. And what do you have to say to such accusations?
So we've given the LCC the bank statement. We've given the LCC the receipt of the vehicle. We asked LCC to go to Kia and to verify, you know, because I mean, you see they have their copy, yeah. Right. So at this time now, it said like, you know, as the colleague Tower was here earlier, that's just that kind of disinformation campaign. Because even after we clarify as an institution, and people are still today that is a flurry of accusations.
Mr. Jaliba,
yeah.
When you guys were in conversation about not spending $55,000 on a single vehicle, anywhere in that conversation did you people also advise the president CEO not with knowledge about the budget cap, but in terms of how expedient it might sound and look? Did you guys also advise?
I did. Let me call it, Chief. I did.
You did, and what was the response?
And when I mean, he said, "Oh, tell me what you advise." You know, so I did. So and so we all at NOCAL opted to acquiring cars in sync with the budget cap. But again, the caveat is that the cars for the GPs were acquired in October 2024. The car, in terms of the other ones for the CEO, was done in December. And again, when I said by that time I was out of the country, so I can't confirm to you. I can't confirm to you whether the PO issue was for one vehicle, but what I can confirm, at least we all saw on TV, that the $75,000 used to buy 2 vehicles. Again, the LCC is then investigating those auto payments and the rest of that.
So
I will wait for the because I was not in the country. And it did not pass too much.
Let's speak to working relations, because I covered the arrival of the suspended president CEO at the LCC, and there were guys with placards exercising their freedom to assemble. And one of those placards read that there's been an undermining that was carried out by VPs as yourself and other top management against the president CEO, and you guys have thrown the rock also and are fading your hands. But let's talk about the relationship. Has there been a sour relationship there at NOCAL between the president CEO and our vice presidents, or there's been always this cordial relationship as well?
That is a mismatch. And to put that in context, my relationship with the president CEO has always been lovey-dovey. I mean, if she's on the call right now, she will say that to you. This is a young lawyer and mother, geologist, petrol geologist. That's almost the best you can have from an aspiring young woman. And so advice for the administration was to provide her all the support. And I do not regret in terms of that relationship with the president CEO of the National Oil Company like that. I still don't regret my level of relationship that I have with all. But in an institution, people come from different backgrounds. There'll be questions asked, and so I do not expect that everything will be rosy. There sometimes, in terms of there are some policy differences. You can disagree, and I know the vice presidents, all of them, Fabian, the current acting president CEO, joined us in Italy. So there can be disagreements as everywhere, even here.
But are those agreements enough to affect the runnings and not create disunity and
there are sometimes and then we sit down and iron some things out. So it was not like that kind of rancor, as it was again. Because those discussions the best person to be able to have those kinds of discussions would be the person who will feel aggrieved. For my side and from my colleagues, all right, those Fabian, the vice for operations, now acting CEO, whether it's Rex Basidia, whether it's Emmanuel Sango, sometimes there can be clashes, and which is understandable. Even years phone. I know at times there can be.
Oh yeah, we have to disagree.
In the day you all disagree, but you guys agree. But it's not at the point at which directly going hit us together. I mean, we friends, we colleagues, we sit down together, eat together. The president CEO,
Mr. Jaliba, on that day that the suspended president CEO went to NOCAL, she was suspended on Saturday. And she went to LSCC on Monday, riding those very vehicles. as an administrator, after a suspension was issued by the chief executive officer of the country and says turn over all government assets, how did you see that action as an administrator? Not as a lovey-dovey friend to the president CEO, but as an administrator, how did you see that particular action? Defiant, an honest mistake, or how?
I'm not the CEO's man, but here's where the case, right? Just by best practice, if you place me in your shoes, then I will have gone there with a private car.
Okay.
Because it's just that aura. So even if at all she went there, to be able to display that, okay, posted about one car for 75,000, 2 cars, the public commentary was that the CEO was disobeying the president. I don't think that she somehow intentionally wanted to do that, but just by best practice and best administrative practice, I mean, it's just best that you turn once that mandate was given to you to have turned those things over. But again, these are judgment calls, and as I said, she's a very, very young person. I mean, she's younger than all of us on the senior management team. So there's always that learning curve, and the interpretation people will normally give it. Oh, you are then disrespecting the office of the president. All right, and so there's that kind of fine line that we have to look at, and I'm trying that to be as brutally honest as possible. And if you place me in her shoes, I would have taken a private vehicle there. All right, I don't think that you were like trying to say I'm defiant. Nobody playing.
Yeah, but you just said as best practice. Yeah. It would have been best to go with a private vehicle.
Correct.
And then turn over the government assets in your possession. Even if you don't want to drive them, you can tow them away to wherever it is for them to be, offloaded and all that kind of stuff, because there's a tendency of unexpected happening and it will look intentional. Yeah. But that didn't send the right message at all. No, to go and retrieve the vehicles from you in that manner and all those kind of stuff. It didn't send a nice picture.
That's what I said. That's a learning curve.
Yeah. But we wrap it up. I know you're a professional person. You represent a professional institution, so you wouldn't want to compromise the integrity of an ongoing investigation.
Correct.
But this question, you can choose to answer or not. Should the board that was under Edward Wade Appleton, who's now an ambassador designate, for allotting 75,000 and 55,000 and all that, whether they were privy to the information or not, government communication and government policies should be cutting across every sector affected by the government. Should the board of NOCAL that passed that resolution, and even after the Amin Modad issue, they didn't call another meeting, pass a new resolution and say, oh no, we need to reverse this particular approval that we did. Should the board also be investigated, or board members and the rest being also called by the LSCC to speak to this particular issue?
Well, I don't know whether they've been called by the LSCC. But some of these violations, sometimes when it borders on when the violation borders on criminal intent, maybe the LCC will be able to establish that. Some of them, it's like maybe it's a honest error.
But the honest error is going to cost the country.
No, I'm saying that determination will be made by the LCC in terms of the those kinds of stuff, because the board did not make the approval for themselves to say, okay, I'm buying myself $75,000 car. But again, because those things are being investigated by the LCC, LCC will make that determination, in terms of who is culpable, who is culpable along the lines. And as you see, I'm trying to do here is to be as cautious as possible.
Yeah, I guess it's still going to investigation. Anything you say might also might compromise the integrity of the investigation. But before, just to wrap up, since that shake-up there at NOCAL, these decisions sent shockwaves as well.
Right.
Has the dust settled? If there was any dust at NOCAL, that's what I said. If there was any at all, or it's just everybody's just going about their activities.
No, we are in transition. The suspended presidency, that there will be a little bit of people will become a little bit animated in terms of a couple of things, and so people are trying to keep their heads down, and we cannot allow these the kind of negative news to be able to shadow all the things that we're doing. Right? We're doing a lot. Last week we were at the CIPEC conference in the hydrocarbon, the Sub-Saharan Africa conference on oil and gas. We're looking at issues around the downstream sector in terms of midstream or midstream, and so we got some contacts. The guys are visiting here. I was in Morocco 3 weeks ago at the economic cooperation, stuff with the Moroccan government, looking at big investments here in terms of hydrocarbon. Of course, as you probably may know, there's an ongoing Nigeria-Morocco pipeline, gas pipeline project. That pipeline is a $25 billion project, and that pipeline is going to pass through Liberia. Of course, mostly offshore, but there will be an offtake point here in Liberia where they can be able to use natural gas to be able to give the issue around energy. And so we've been having negotiations moving here.
So Liberians should be hopeful. I don't want.
They have a party because all this.
Should Liberians look at your stewardship? I'm talking about your management team stewardship at NOCAL. Should Liberians look at it as a means? We've had this hype around the energies, the oil and gas sector, and it all dwindled away. But now that you've said it's not like the Rapsalif days or the McLean days, that you've learned from these mistakes and all these things with the stewardship at NOCAL, should Liberians expect? What should be the expectation of Liberians?
We have a very young team, a very young, energetic, very team, that is steering this affair, and that's why we have made a decision to keep our heads, keep our head down. And as you say, because when you have too much of optimism, then it creates all the kind of thing. But we are very hopeful for the number of companies. For the first time, Petrobras is, Petrobras is coming in. We licensed data for Total Energies last year. This year, we intend to do so. We have just done the first time in a long while for Chevron to come in terms of licensing data for them. Petrobras, Murphy, and all these big, we call them super majors. They're all coming back to our business. We need to be hopeful as Liberians, and we know that we are very hopeful and going forward along those lines.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Jaliba. It took tooth and nail to get you to come, but it's been a wonderful presentation.
I've been doing this a long time. Yeah, last time. Is that you? So just I've been doing it for 4-5 years.
Yeah, wasn't there? It's like this driver who hasn't driven for a while. It will take you 1 or 2 minutes, but you readjust and you get back in your elements. But it's been an informative, interaction with you. We look forward to keeping these channels open. It's good when information is out there. It takes away a lot of the speculations. We do not want you to tell us all of your workings and not do the actual work. But at least when we call on, as you did, people can avail themselves to give the Liberian people what they want to hear, the right information for people to be able to be informed. I appreciate you for being here.
Thank you. And we intend the acting president CEO. We intend to have an appearance at the Major Information. So it will be explain some of the things that we do there. And I think that we should not only, and I agree with you, that people should not only listen to us when we have issues.
Yeah.
At least we should be proactive.
Yes.
To be able to put that information. But again, just know that I don't spearhead the car.
Yeah.
So automatically, that decision will have been made by the presidency.
Okay, sir. Yeah. All right, thank you. So Mr. Boyka Jaliba is the Vice President for Administration at the National Oil Company of Liberia, Boyka Jaliba Jr. We had to put all of the handles. It's been a wonderful, wonderful show. Thank you so much. My name is Diamond Slanger. We'll be back here on Monday, not tomorrow. But I have an announcement to make before I leave. So you remember that on Monday, I read an announcement for Smo. Mr. Smo was in search of his classmate, Rosa Dagose, Mr. Smo Moba. Thankfully, somebody listened to the program and was able to connect him with his classmate that he lost contact with since the 1980s. So I'll have to come and report back to you that Madame Rose Dagose, who's now married, so she's got a different surname, has been put in contact with a longtime friend, Smo Mobile from the US. And that has encouraged me to say, you can reach out to me if you've got any of that you want us to help you do, to help you connect. If you want to promote your business or you've got an announcement to make, we're open to helping promote your business or your goods and services that you have. So I feel good that Rose Dagose, that lost contact, with her classmate, Smo Mobile, was brave. He said, I've been searching. And when I called him up, I said, Rose Dagose called. I missed her call. So when I pick up the phone, she said, I'm Rose Dagose. I said, wow. And when they talked, he was so emotional. He said, I don't want to say anything that I would say that you hold me by my word. But that was a good feeling. All right. So, folks, that's how I leave you to be back on Monday. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. It's been a wonderful presentation. Boyka Jaliba. Okay. So Boyka Jaliba has been here with us today, and it's been a wonderful conversation. So he spoke carefully, he treaded carefully. He said it's an ongoing investigation, and he couldn't speak as much as against what he provided at the LACC. All right, so folks, there you have it. We'll be leaving you now, and I'll forward it to you. All right, folks, have yourselves a wonderful time. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And bye-bye. Testimony says she's looking for her friend. Bye-bye. Have yourselves a wonderful evening.